Hello, and welcome to the Investor Guys Podcast, the ultimate podcast for serious real estate investors in the know. Join your host, Bill Barnett and Kevin Mills, as they share their expert insights, strategies, and tips to help you succeed in the world of real estate investing. Get ready to level up your investment game with the Investor Guys Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Bill Barnett and Kevin Mills.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Investor Guys Podcast. I'm Kevin Mills. How you doing, Bill Barnett?
I am doing excellent, my brother. Welcome everyone to our post-Thanksgiving recording of the broadcast of the Investor Guys Podcast. Thanks for being with us. Hope everyone had an incredible Thanksgiving. I know this is going to be a few days later by the time you hear this. So we just wish everybody had an incredibly wonderful Thanksgiving. Looking forward to an incredible Christmas. Kev, got your Christmas tree up?
I do not. And
Neither
it's
do I.
kind of, you know what? It's kind of weird because my wife is usually like, I'm usually like having to pull the brakes on her because she's wanting the Christmas tree up like right after Halloween. And this year she just hasn't really said anything about it. I'm one of those people who feels it's like, I don't know, a sin against humanity. Put it up before Thanksgiving, you know.
Absolutely.
Put it up on
I agree with that.
Day or the
I'll
day
have mine
after.
up sometime this week. I haven't, I rearranged my garage a few months ago. Pierce and I did. And one of the things I wasn't paying a lot of attention to was the fact that I trapped the attic door. So I'm going to have to go rearrange the garage some more to be able to get into the attic, which is where all the Christmas stuff
like
is.
rings so you can get over there and hoist yourself up. So what did you want to talk about today? Because we chatted a lot before the show, but we did not.
Yeah, that is an excellent question. You know what I think we ought to take a look at, and today might be a great day to do it, is long-term planning. What a lot of real estate investors do, and that's just based on the experience that I've had with thousands and thousands of students. I would be surprised if your experience was any different. But I just find investors kind of moving through the motions. They go from one deal to the next deal. And for each different investor, it's specific to them as to how long there is between those deals. Some of them move very quickly. The vast majority of real estate investors act like they're in a coma and they do a deal a year or every 2 years or 3 years. You know, they just don't move. And I think a lot of that has to do with a lack of focus in where we want our business to be. And if we look, one of the things I love about the Orientals, especially the Japanese, is they have a very long-term view of business goals. So they'll do the typical things that we do, 1, 3, 5, 10, but they'll also do a 50-year plan and a 100-year plan and a 300-year plan. Now, I'm not into that, but I respect.
What do you look like in 300 years there, Bill?
Yeah, I'm going to have a very long beard. So you look at it, but I do know that you have to have more in line from a goals-oriented standpoint. And a lot of people freak out when you use the word goals. But look, it just is what it is. It's the direction that we're moving our life and our business in on a daily basis with a specific end in mind. Now, that can be a permanent end or that can be a plateau, and then we go on to the next plateau. But real estate investors, I have noticed around the country through 30 years of doing this, very little planning out from a traditional business standpoint of this is where I want my business to be in 12 months, where I want it to be in 60 months, where I want it to be 120 months. And I think you really have to have that longer term vision. Toni Robbins has this incredible statement that is so accurate. He said, you know, most people vastly overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10. And one of my favorite business people right now is a guy called Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels. And that's a company that 6 years ago did not exist, didn't exist. They have 144,000 users around the world. Those are people that are paying at least $97 a month. And many of them are paying $300 and many of them are paying $1,500. So they're have this massive, they're going to do, they'll do well over 150 million this year. And you're looking at a company that 6 years ago did not exist. And it started out with, like 3 guys, and they have 400 people that work there now.
Yeah. And a lot of startups are doing that. It's all about motivation. And one of the things that it's odd that you chose that, because one of the things I've been focusing on over the last probably month for my other shows and for my motivationals, I do moving motivationals, where actually, while I'm driving around during the day, I don't know if you've seen this or not, Bill, but I actually record myself while I'm in the car, because I have time while I'm in the car, and I try to do motivational little speeches. Been focusing on goal setting. And with our real estate investing, it is more than goal setting. And there's a right way and a wrong way to go about goal setting. Don't just write it down on paper. You need to make them actionable. You need to have a plan of attack for those goals. And one of the things that's going to help you understand how to set your goals is also going to be a business plan. And make no mistake, investing in real estate is a business venture. You need to put together a business plan. Your business plan is going to have your goals for your business wrapped up in that business plan. But in the process of making that business plan, you're going to better understand how to make your goals actionable, how to lead into what you need to do each step in order to accomplish those goals. So to give you a real quick example before we go on break, if your goal is to take a vacation to the Virgin Islands next year, okay, you can't just say go to Virgin Islands. You need to start with goal Virgin Islands and then go all the way back to today. Okay. How do I make that goal start? I need to start saving money, because I need to have money when I go to the Virgin Islands. How much money do I need to save? How good of a vacation do I want this to be? What is my plane ticket going to cost? What are my hotel tickets or resort costs going to be? I need to save that much money. What date do I want to take this? I need to go ahead and book those tickets when I'm able to have that money so that I can go on that vacation. Who am I taking on this vacation? I need to let them know so that they're ready. What am I taking on this vacation? Is it all going to be swimsuits? Am I going to take some formal? Where am I going to take a resort? So you can kind of get an idea. It's not just a matter of saying, I want to go on a vacation to the Virgin Islands. We all want to go on a vacation to the Virgin Islands. How do we get there? How do we get from where we are now to getting off of that plane in the Virgin Islands and starting our vacation? That is what's making your goals actionable. Now, we've got more coming up after this break. We'll see you on the other side.
Awaken your potential and harness the strengths of your inner self. Online courses that you complete at your own pace. Set and achieve all of your goals. Packed with an ever-growing catalog of information, resources, learning programs, weekly recorded coaching sessions, podcast, posts and more to keep you on track for your best life. Because the only person who can guarantee your success is you. www.reallykevin.com.
Thank you for watching the Investor Guys podcast.
Absolution X, limited editions, lifestyle apparel like none other. Get yours today at absolutionx.com.
Live the resort lifestyle every day with Cayman K. The perfect pieces for every wardrobe. Shop the entire Cayman K collection and find your favorites. Find all our styles at caymank.com.
And we are back with the Investor Guys podcast, and we've been talking about preparing, and essentially it's goal setting as well, but having a plan moving into what you want to do. So whether you're an investor now or not, okay, whether you already have properties in your portfolio or you're just starting out, it is the right time to figure out where you want to be. Where do you want to be at the end of this next year? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? What do you want to leave for your family, for your legacy? So Bill was talking about, an end game. Where do you want to get out of it? Getting out of it may be you retiring and handing this all over to your children or your grandchildren. what do you need to do to make that happen? Do you need to start having your children and your grandchildren shadow you so they understand what your strategies have been, what works for you? Do you need to put something together so that it's going to transfer to them, a living trust, a corporation where they have shares, whatever it is? All of these things are long-term goals. And by understanding where we want to be in 20 years, 30 years, 300 years, as Bill mentioned, we're able to get there now because we can start laying that track to go in that direction. And that's essentially what it is. If we don't have a roadmap, or we can't draw a roadmap to where we want to go, then we're not going to get there. We can say we want to get to XYZ destination, but unless we start drawing from where we are now, we're never going to get there.
Yep. And when you have that, everything you ever read about goal setting always reminds you to start with the end in mind. And when you have that destination, and look, it changes along the way. So when I set a 10-year goal, it's where I believe I want to be in 10 years when I'm looking at it from today. Well, a year from now, it's going to be different. A year ago, it was different. And so you massage it along the way. But if you don't have a direction that goes in, and this is most investors, they do not have a direction for their business. So they just kind of wallow around. And if a deal hits them on the head, maybe they do it, maybe they don't do it. There's no driving force behind, I'm trying to get to X. And if you don't have that end in mind, your business is going to flounder. And you may make some money, it'll be hit and miss, but you won't have a driving force moving forward on a regular basis because you have no plateau, goal, destination in mind. So when you set, let's say that from a living trust standpoint, you want to have X number of rental units for your children. And whether they own that as one piece or they each have a separate number of those units that they own individually, that's up to you and how you want to leave your legacy for your kids. But that gives you something that says, hey, I want to have X number of units for my kids in total or per kid, leaving them rental income going forward. In doing that, then what happens is you have that constant. Am I getting closer to my goal? What am I doing today to reach my goal? And you used a word that I absolutely love when it comes to goals. And you said a plan, you've got to attack that plan. And that's exactly how you have to look at this. I've got to understand what attack do I have to be able to be there in 10 years. Well, if I need to be there in 10 years, then I can start breaking it up year by year, quarter by quarter, and get it down to activity. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's going to end up being offers and money. It's in the real estate world and investing, it's always going to break down to offers and money. I've always got to have offers going out of my office, whether it's me or whether I have a team of people, doesn't matter. I've always got to be moving forward on making offers, and I've always got to be moving forward on putting money together to pay for those offers, whether I'm doing buy and hold or flip, doesn't matter. Or even if I'm doing wholesale, I'm going to have some marketing cash, not much, but I'm going to have some money involved if I'm going to try to do this on a bigger scale. Now, the thing that bugs me about wholesale is that typically wholesale is never really in favor. When you look at when wholesale becomes plentiful and easy to do, is when the market is down and anybody can do a wholesale deal. But you know what? That's typically not when we need wholesale deals. We need wholesale deals now when the market's hot, when it's harder to find great deals. That's when you need wholesale deals. But most wholesalers, my opinion, and most of them that I have been exposed to, don't have the deals. They're looking at, well, I'm just going to say they don't have the deals that make sense. So
one of the things, and I apologize
make a plan.
for a camera issue there, but I'm back. One of the things that I tell people when they're setting their goals, and especially real estate investors, I have them tell me their goals, and it's goals like, I want to have X amount of doors by such and such date. I want to have X amount of types of deals, or I want to be making offers on X amount of deals. A lot of times it's easier to just say, I want to be making X amount of money by this benchmark in 10 years. I want to be making X amount of money in 20 years. I want to make X amount of money in 30 years. And I want to be doing it through whatever strategies, whether it's flipping or buying hold or vacation properties, whatever it is. That's an easier goal to set, because by having that benchmark, and not saying I want to be able to do 20 properties a year, or I want to do 10 properties a year, by having that benchmark, you know what type of properties you need to do. You know how many of those properties you need to do. So if you want to make that amount of money, you know you have to do X amount of properties at X amount of profit in order to get there. And you have a clear roadmap instead of just saying a general, I want to do 10 properties in a year. So don't always look at it in the simplest form. Try to think outside of the box a little bit, because if you think outside of the box, that gets your creative side of your mind going, and that will get you to where you're going faster, because we all have a creative being inside of us. Unfortunately, it has been locked up by the way we've been taught and educated and everything else. Start thinking outside of the box. One of the things I like to tell people all the time is, if you can't think outside of the box, just make your own box and think outside of it. Okay. And it's literally that easy. The way that people are able to overcome these types of things is understanding that they are not tied to anything specifically. You are not locked into one strategy. You're not locked into, don't let anybody tell you what you have to do. The way people excel is by breaking the norms and doing exactly what people say they can't do. So we're up on a break, so we'll be back in just a second. Bill, I'll see you on the other side.
All right. Thanks now.
You are watching the Investor Guys podcast.
Live the resort lifestyle every day with Cayman K. The perfect pieces for every wardrobe. Shop the entire Cayman K collection and find your favorites. Find all our styles at CaymanK.com.
Absolution X. Lifestyle apparel like no other. Limited editions. Unique, exclusive designs. Seek your absolution. Get yours. Only at absolutionx.com.
ReallyKevin.com. Weekly recorded coaching sessions. Learn, grow, find resources, opportunities, and more. You'll find it all at ReallyKevin.com.
And we are back with the Investor Guys podcast, and my picture's straight. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, that's impressive, dude.
It's not warped. The other camera's a wide angle lens, so it makes it look warped. Just before the break, we were talking about goal setting, and really more importantly, being prepared for where you want your investing career. And it's not just your investing career, because you know what? The reason we invest is to make our lives better. And the reason we do the things that we do, I tell people all the time, we don't live to work, we work to live. And investing needs to be the same. I mean, it is one of those things for Bill and I. It's actually our lives also. Okay. I do live to invest. I don't think I could ever not, just even when I'm old and in a wheelchair, I'm probably still going to ask somebody to wheel me around and look for deals.
Well, it'll be motorized. You know
It's
that.
in my blood. What's that?
It'll be
Yeah,
motorized.
I'll set out on my own. It's in our blood. And you'll find a lot of people who have careers like that. They have a passion for what they do. And you may or may not have a passion for investing. That's fine. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be a good investment for you to do. You just may not have a great love of it. And my recommendation to you is, if you don't have a love of real estate investing, invest in real estate, because it's a great return, and use that money to pursue a passion. I have other businesses. I love cars, and I haven't unfortunately done a lot with it since I moved to Florida, but I have a business where I have patents on different performance products for Porsches and Corvettes. One of the things I wanted to do was some other things for other types of vehicles. I haven't gone on it, but that's my passion, and I'm able to feed that passion and collect my cars and things like that, but have other businesses that
Yep.
I started because I was a real estate investor. My wife has started a flourishing photography business in just a short time that we've been here in Florida. And it was our real estate investments that were able to allow her to do that. We've got company cars and extra cameras and backdrops and lights, and she's super, super, super crazy busy. Again, because it was fed by investing.
Yep.
So set your goals, your ancillary goals is what I'm getting at. It's a long, long route to get there. Set your ancillary goals. Where do you want to be in your life? And remember, you're in a relationship. If you're married, you have children, you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, keep them in mind and make them responsible for keeping you accountable, and have them set goals and let them know what your goals are so that they can set the goals in parallel with yours so that you can keep each other accountable as well. And that's really important because you need to be accountable yourself. But if you've got somebody else you have to answer to, you're going to try harder. So find someone to do this with. Thoughts, Bill?
Well, I agree with that completely. And, you know, they don't have to be involved in the business to be a part of the business from a standpoint of accountability. So that is an absolutely spot on statement. And then you start looking at, you know, you can do this either number of units, or you can do this just dollars. And how do you want to make those dollars? Do you want to have periodic large checks coming in, or do you want to build up a steady monthly passive income? And that's what both of us are likely to strongly suggest to you. I like doing both. Well, I like building that passive income because you will reach a point, and it is a huge point, where your passive income covers your monthly expenses. And when that happens, you are financially free. You're not necessarily rich in those terms, but you are rich from a standpoint of being financially free so that you can do what you want to do. Now, Kevin talked about it feeding his other businesses and his passions. And if you've been around me for a while, or you've listened to this podcast, you know, what real estate has allowed me to do through the years is to have fun. And what I mean by having fun, well, I spent 2 seasons pit crewing for an IndyCar team. That happened because of my ability with real estate. For those 2 seasons, when I was doing the Indy 500, we were there the entire month of May. Now they're down to 2 weeks, but back when we were doing it, as they had done for many, many years, it was the entire month of May. And it was cool to be able to be there the entire month of May. And we'd go into these other tracks. We typically run about 16 races a year. And we'd go into these tracks. If it was a Sunday race, we'd typically go in on Thursday evening. We'd be there Friday and Saturday, setting up everything, race Sunday. And depending on the time of the race, come back Sunday night or Monday morning. But have that freedom to be able to do that happened because of real estate. I spent 3.5 years on literally a fluke meeting with a guy, but that led to 3.5 years of being able to travel every weekend with some of the top country music acts in the country. And again, happened because of real estate, having the ability to know that financially taken care of. So can I afford to go do this? Yeah. Can I afford the time to go do this? Yeah. So you got to look at those things. We had, you know, Kevin knows I've coached a lot of youth baseball. Well, some of that involves costing, gets involved in it. It's nice to never have to think about that, to not have to ask for money for equipment, or money for park rental, or money for uniforms, to just know that that's all covered. And that's on a much smaller scale. And then you look at things like vacations. And some of you know, I had been on a cruise in gosh, I guess 3 years, but I've been on 22. And again, those kind of things happen because of the ability from a time standpoint, not chained to the desk, so that if somebody, my ex would say, hey, I found a great cruise online. Here's the only catch. It leaves on Friday. and it might be Tuesday or Wednesday. And I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that? And boom, off we'd go. So having that, there's a certain amount of freedom that comes with building your business that if you will work toward that, the benefits of that to feed your passions, whatever they are, will just be huge.
Yeah. My wife literally said the same thing just this weekend. She said she loves how working for ourselves allows us to, if we have an appointment or something, we don't have to call the boss. We don't have to try to get the time off or anything else. If we have an appointment, we just go ahead and we do it. We schedule it or whatever else for ourselves because we are in control. And as far as cruises go, Bill, they leave from the port here once coronavirus is over.
I've left out of Miami many times, brother.
We even port of Palm Beach. There's a cruise port here, so even closer. You can park your car at our house, and we'll Uber over there. I love cruising as well, but yeah, being in control is a great thing, and that may be one of your goals: is setting a goal to where you are the master of your own fate. You are the controller of your own destiny. Being able to decide that as soon as I'm done with this show, which we're doing, by the way, in the middle of the day. Okay. Yep. It is 12 noon for me. It is 11 o'clock for Bill when we do this show. If you're working a regular job, JOB, just over broke, you are not able to take an hour off in the middle of the day to do a show with your good friend. You're not able to, as soon as I'm done with this show, my wife and I will go get lunch with my daughter. We're going to run some errands. I was telling Bill I got to get a new monitor that I was supposed to do this weekend. You're not able to do that if you have a regular job. My day is spent going to the beach, running errands, looking at houses, not stuck behind a desk and answering to a boss who wants to know why I'm not doing more when I can barely get done all the stuff that they've given me to do in the first place. We are, as always, running over again, Bill. Any final thoughts before we let these nice people get on with their day?
Well, by the time you hear this, it's likely to be December. So this mindset of moving forward becomes huge. And if you're like me, and I'm going to speak for Kevin on this, if you're like us, you are more than excited that 2020 is going to get in the rearview mirror. And this is the weirdest year. I'm 65, and this is by far the weirdest year of my life, and I'm ready for it to be done. And let's move on.
I hope 2021 is better.
Yeah.
That is my prayer. I need to talk to the Pope about coming up with a prayer for that. I'm not even Catholic, but I think that needs to be a prayer. It needs to be a mantra somehow. Bill,
well, great. And please come back, join us again for the next Investor Guys podcast. Kev, as always, brother, great.
Happy investing to the rest of you guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Investor Guys podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and stay updated on the latest trends and insights in the world of real estate investing. Also, don't forget to check us out and see all of our episodes at theinvestorguyspodcast.com. Email us, contact@investorguyspodcast.com. Remember, the key to financial success lies in staying informed and taking action. Stay tuned for our next episode, and until then, happy investing.